Welcome to our channel, Always Keep Moving. We are Anna and Kelvin and we're doing our round the world trip. We have already completed the first leg of our journey, which was in Central America. We've also completed South America and we had a great safari for a month in Africa. From there we went to the Middle East, and after seeing some fantastic sights in the Middle East, we are now starting the third leg of our journey, which is Thailand and the rest of Asia.
Don't forget to watch our previous videos from Latin America, Africa and the Middle East. And also don't forget to like and subscribe.
Today me and Kelvin are leaving CM Rep and we are taking the giant Ibis bus to Phnom Penh. Yeah, so we're leaving this great place now after 2.5 weeks here. It's gonna be sad to leave, but yeah, it's time to move on now. Alright, we are driving into Phnom Penh, crossing a big river here, the Mekong River. Alright, we are at the giant Ibis office here in Phnom Penh. We're already in a tuk-tuk heading off to our hostel or hotel. I gotta say, giant Ibis, huh, man? We've gone with them twice now. They always leave on time and they always arrive 5 or 10 minutes early. So yeah, that's you can't say that about everything or every bus company you're traveling with in Asia or anywhere else in the world for that matter. So yeah, really good. We're off to our hotel and we'll show you more from there. All right, we are gonna show you a quickie here on our hotel. It's called the RS Free Hotel. Yeah, all right, someone is coming here. Okay, so you walk into here you have people sleeping and yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah, he's brought the
All right, it's brought the towel.
towels.
All right, good.
It looks like we're in luck.
Yeah. So here's the room. Oh yeah, he's fixed the lamp as well. Yeah, we had a put it on, Kelvin. Yeah. We had a broken lamp here before, but they came in and fixed it. Yeah.
Fix it. Oh, I'll get someone to do it later. Like, yeah. And then, but he has the fair play.
So as almost as usual, a very basic room. Just a little table with a chair, a double bed. They have a little corner over there with a kettle, which is good. Some lockers here. You can actually lock in your few things, your passports and stuff. And yeah, a fridge, which is always good. AC. And like I said, yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best view, unfortunately, but we're not really here for the view. And just a kind of normal, basic bathroom as well. Yeah, but more than okay anyway. And $20 with included breakfast. Yeah, we feel happy with that. We're right smack in the middle of the central here, nice area. So
location is great, I have to say.
Yeah, we're just taking a little stroll around the neighborhood. We're right on the river here. In the distance you can see all the high rises, pretty much probably more in the business type areas, some big hotels. But yeah, no, it's a very nice area. Kind of feels like we are in the center of it all. Lots of traffic and lots of little like supermarkets and restaurants and bars and even a sports bar, good for Kelvin if you want. And even there on the other side also here, the English cafe. It was meant to be. Oh, we found a beautiful, what we believe to is a cherry blossom tree. Look how gorgeous. Yes, by the river.
So in Phnom Penh, all the main activity is situated along the river. We are right next to the Grand Palace, so we're as central can be, surrounded by all good coffee shops, restaurants, etc. Now, we will be showing you a lot more around the city to what's known as the killing fields. So today's episode is going to be heavy, so I will give you a heads up about that from the start, but definitely stick with us to the end.
Alright, we're continuing our exploration and we just came to a little place here with lots of people and a little market stall. Well, not market stalls, just put up little chairs and selling a few things. And there's so many birds around here. Oh. And like a little pagoda there. And if I just turn to my right, we think that this might be the royal palace. We're not sure, but yeah, it said on the description to our hotel that we were going to be close to the royal palace.
6 in the morning, people running, the traffic's picking up, and then just on the other side here, just on the other side over there, I'll zoom in, people doing an early morning yoga pass by the water. I don't know about doing it in such traffic, but I suppose if you don't have a studio, you have to take what you're given. And then I jogged down to the little outdoor gym, but expecting to be virtually all alone. It's absolutely packed out. Young kids, 20-somethings, pensioners and everything in between. I mean, it's cool to see. The problem is I've got no equipment to use, so there we go. No, but it's great to see the Cambodians taking their health and training so seriously. I am really impressed. Despite the traffic behind, you're still on the river overlooking sunrise. So I suppose there could certainly be worse places to do yoga.
So I purposely got up early to do some exercise, to clear my head a little bit, because I knew after breakfast we was doing a trip that was gonna be heavy. So a little bit of a heads up, today's video is heavy. There's no two ways about it. A lot of genocides happened here in the 1970s, and fair play to the Cambodians. They're working hard to develop their country, but they're keeping the memory alive, and hence the museums, which you have to see despite being uncomfortable if you're ever in Phnom Penh. So that's where we're heading today to do that. So we're in our tuk-tuk and we're going by the water, and all along the waterfront is where the main hub of action is in Phnom Penh. But as you'll soon see, as you get farther away from the water and go deeper into downtown, the traffic becomes, shall we say, chaotic.
In Phnom Penh, and as you can see, high-rise, total chaos with traffic, bumper to bumper, you know, for like 4 different lanes going across. It was not like this years ago. I mean, literally, you did not see any high-rise, and the traffic was 10% of this. So, yeah, wow. What can I say? If this is pretty much a benchmark for a lot of other cities in Indochina. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I understand, yeah.
That's gonna be good.
Yeah, okay. He's just telling us now they're actually in the process of building a SkyTrain here to hopefully relieve the traffic a little bit. And this route is the main route to the airport apparently, so they're trying to get as quick access as possible, and they need it. Yeah, it can't go on like this for much longer. So yeah, but times are definitely changing. Yeah, whether for better or worse is, well, you judge that one. But what can we say? We're here at the entrance to the tourist centre of the killing fields, Chongek. Okay, so we're going to go in. Now, this is a bit more developed than what it was last time. You've got a few shops and restaurants and tuk-tuk drivers here waiting for their clients. But yeah, it's semi-early. It's only 9 in the morning, so hopefully we'll get in there and we can have a good look round without too many people being here. We've just come in to the entrance and the shrine is here in front of you. I'll zoom in so you can see a bit better what's inside.
Now this is basically the first thing you see as you go in, and I know it's a real slap in the face entrance, but take a few deep breaths, get over it. You can either do it at the end of your circuit or at the beginning, but what I definitely recommend is to hire the headphones, and you get basically a running commentary, so everything from place to place makes a lot more sense.
Just going to put our incense in here. Then take off your shoes. And then we put a little flower that we bought in here. Okay, it's heavy, but you've got to see it. Yeah, I know what you mean. I was the same the first time. 20 to 40 years old.
Yeah. And then I put
As high as the eye can see, like 8, 10, 15, 20 racks kind of thing. There's just too many to count. And out of respect, they didn't put the skulls of the children here, and there was probably just as many there, all vertebrae. I mean, I'll walk around the sides and show you a little bit more. Now I know this is a bit grim, don't get me wrong, I totally get it, but I just feel it's our duty to kind of show it really is heavy. Yeah, it's ultra heavy, but I just think people have got to see it, man. Really, we cannot forget, or we cannot allow people to forget atrocities that have gone on in my lifetime. I mean, I was like 8, 9 years old when all this was happening. I don't know, man. It really, yeah, it's heavy. I can't think of the right words to describe it.
Okay, we move on to other sites around. Now the good thing is they're all numbered and it's in good order, and it gives you a better understanding of how the overall picture of what was happening here. Now I definitely recommend taking the headphones and get the running commentary, and you can choose, you don't have to go 1, 2, 3, you can choose different numbers and click on the explanation of that one accordingly. So it is very organised, efficient, organised, and I mean, you could do a 3-hour documentary and just scratch the surface of what happened there. So I'm going to keep it all kind of as simple an overview as possible. But basically, I mean, they dug graves and just dumped dead bodies, and they were brought here to be executed point blank, man, woman and child. Now they actually reckon just at the back here in the rice fields, there's also mass graves there, but out of sheer respect, they sort of come to the conclusion of let's just leave it be and let them rest in peace. So even though they found over 6,000 bodies in this one alone, there's probably still countless others out there in the vicinity. So it really is unimaginable. Like so yeah, okay. So you walk around, you see it, and just try your best to contemplate it the best you can, really.
So these mounds are just more mass graves, and then they built a little walkway now, which is good, so you're not accidentally walking on graves. But here, just excavated bones, and then there, pretty much a full skeleton. Oi, oi, oi. What can you say to that? really glad we did it. And there's loads of like, as well as giving you a bit more about the history of how it was. I mean, it's 20 odd years ago since I've been here, so it's all a bit sort of vague and rusty in my mind. A bit more structured now with paths and different symbols, giving you a bit more feedback of it all. But so that in itself helps, and it gives a bit more of a deeper explanation. But what's really heavy is it's giving real life accounts of from survivors and people that were affected. And yeah, it's heavy, I've got to say, man, it's really heavy. But when you hear a few of the success stories from a few survivors, like a couple of them have gone on to work for they fled the country, made it to Thailand, made it to the US, ended up working for the UN. And one guy, he had actually overseen the very first elections Cambodia did after it was liberated. So when you do hear success stories like that, it gives you that glimmer of hope and restores your faith in humanity kind of thing. So this little pathway, this is kind of the border of what people are, what were technically the killing fields. Behind it are rice fields. And they've kind of restored this. This was actually orchard trees. And that was sort of indicated the boundary. So, yeah, I mean, we're only scratching the surface here. There's unknown people out there. And one interesting fact, of all the thousands of people, they reckon over 6,000 bodies were buried here, like in mass graves. Quite a few were foreigners, actually. A couple of French, I think an Australian, and a couple of other people. So somehow I'm assuming they were either journalists or peacekeepers, volunteers working that just unfortunately got all wrapped up in the wave of confusion at the time. But like, the stories are heavy, and if you're ever in Cambodia, you've got to come. If you're in Phnom Penh, man, come. I mean, we was talking to a guy the other day when we was in Siem Reap, and he says, no, I'm not going to the killing fields. I've had such a good time here. I don't want to sort of like leave with a deep sort of. Well, I was like, but you've got to. You owe it to yourself to come. Like, you know, that's the thing. You know, having a great time here is one thing. Do that when you're here, 100%. But you've got to come and see it. And kind of, I don't know. Me personally, I think I feel a bit of a cheat. I feel disrespectful to the thousands of people that got, well, millions. The whole country has been affected if we look at the ripple effect of losing people. So basically 6 million people have been directly affected by this. And if you can't take a few hours out of your day to come and step out of your comfort zone, that's kind of just not paying any respect to them. So anyway, I'm not preaching and all that, but my advice is, if you're ever in Phnom Penh, definitely come and see this. It's heavy, don't get me wrong, it's hardly a Disney film with a nice happy ending, but you've got to do it, and yeah, I don't think you'll regret it as well, you definitely won't. So yeah, Phnom Penh, and we've got a few more sites to do now. Set a morning or an afternoon aside, and that way you don't rush through it. You can actually come and really sit and take it in. They've actually laid out benches, so when you're listening to your audio, you can just sit and take it in a bit, because I think they've actually realised that people do need that, because it is a little bit too heavy. So yeah, I mean, $6 is nothing really. I mean, yeah, you've just got to do it. Okay, all right, if you're ever here, definitely make the time to do it.
So we've got ourselves together and we started to leave. And yeah, okay, yeah, in a sombre mood, shall we say. I actually seen a guy outside who was a real survivor that was selling his book. So needless to say, I had to get that and wait till I'm in the right headspace and sit and read it.
One thing we did notice upon entering Cambodia was the size of their coconuts. I mean, they are delightful. The ones in Thailand are beautiful, but they're basically only half the size. So I don't know what the story is there, but
they're massive, these ones.
They're exceptionally big, I have to say.
So we're back in the tuk-tuk and we're heading across town to the Genocide Museum, which is known as S21, and the reason for that is under the reign of the Khmer Rouge, Phnom Penh was basically evacuated, and each area they put into sections, and the section where the school is, or the section where the Genocide Museum is called S21. It was actually an old school, a derelict school, which they just procured and used the classrooms as torture chambers. It is heavy, as was before, but please just stick with us for the next few minutes.
So we just got to the entrance of S21, or Hang Sleng, these days more commonly just known as the Genocide Museum. Now it does look a bit more, they've changed it a little bit from how it was last time I was here. There's a bit more of an hospitable garden area here, if I say it like that. But I'm glad to say that it doesn't look like they've restored it too much. They've kind of kept the grittiness of how it used to be, which is good to see. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's going to be a bit grim when you get in there, but I'm just glad they've not glammed it up too much. So we're going to go exploring and keep you informed as we go. The shackles that they used to chain them to the bed. Cartridges. The bullets they shot them with. And that's description there. Chained to a bed and been beaten to death. When the Vietnamese army liberated it in 1979, a combination of the Vietnamese with a few defectors from the Khmer Rouge that sort of went over to Vietnam, and as a collaboration they both come in, liberated the country. When they first came in here to S21, they found 14 prisoners that were in the process of being tortured. The Khmer Rouge had just fled and they were just left to die. So, yeah, what a way to go, eh? If you look under the bed, you can see the blood stains that had just dripped through. And when I first came here 20 odd years ago, one of the cells, they still had the blood stains there as well. So here's the next one. And the next. And the next. And so it goes on. All the way down to the end. What a way to die. So, a little bit intrepidly, I go up the stairs to the next floor, and as we do so,
The rooms downstairs were quite small. They were for where single prisoners got tortured. Usually the higher end ones, so to speak, that had some kind of government connection, but the ones on the next floor up are much bigger rooms, and they reckon they did group torture here, where they'd have like 4 or 5 people torturing at the same time, trying to get each one to rat out the other. And the reality is, they'd just say anything to stop the torture. So they were just agreeing and signing confessions about anything. Yeah, I'll sign a confession to say I work for the CIA. I mean, no one had, they never even heard the term CIA before. They didn't know what the hell they were signing. I don't know, it's just unimaginable, really is.
I mean, last time I never made it past the ground floor because it was a little bit too heavy. But I'm a bit more sort of mentally prepared now, so I'm going to kind of push on and see what there is up here. Okay. So they made this more into a traditional or, museum piece. So, modern explanations. I'm assuming that runs little videos at certain times of the day and whatever, and a few old artifacts. So this is more like what you'd think of a real museum, so to speak. But it's good because this is on the top floor. You have to go up the first two, so you're seeing the grimness of everything before you can actually get to what most people would call a real museum. So actually, really good. I think they've got the perfect combination there, actually.
So as you walk through and see all the different artifacts, exhibitions, I mean, seeing the pictures of the individual faces is quite hard. I mean, some of them look so young. They look like little kids. The ones that don't look malnourished and abused and everything, it's kind of heavy. There's all the shackles that they used to chain them in while they were here. And the picture here on the wall, it's kind of an overview of the excavation when they first went into the killing fields. So every mound has just got a pile of skeletons next to it, and they're lining them up so they can count the skeletons and do necessary DNA testing to try and identify the bodies. So as you're looking at things like this going round, yeah, it's super heavy. You're trying to read and get some kind of like projective overview of what was kind of happening, and then there's other buildings you can go around that are showing you, different types of prisoners that were here and how they were abused, kept, tortured, etc. I mean, here this gives a quick overview of the living conditions they were in. They were kind of kept in these tiny little cells where they were sleeping in between torture sessions, and I mean, yeah, what can one say? It really does sort of, I mean, it's sort of bemusing. I mean, you kind of lose your faith in reality, in mankind in one respect, but in another way, it sort of restores your optimism and hope that we kind of came through this. I mean, here's like artifacts of what they were using to torture and kill people. I mean, bullets were too expensive, so they were using axes and pickaxes and things. So on it goes, we're seeing all sorts of things, and I mean, yeah, skeletons, people say, oh, it's a bit too horrific, but you've got to keep it horrific to keep it real. There's no point glamorizing it. I mean, this picture that you can see here, it's just coming up, the map of Cambodia made of the skulls. They had that as the original insignia as you entered the museum, but too many people were complaining, so they sort of took it down. But to me, keep it like that. There's only one way you can prevent this from happening again, and that's to keep it real, so no one has any, so it doesn't fade from the memory. I mean, this place outside now, each of these little plaques outside, they're the names of people. Each one has hundreds of names on it, and all ages, and these are only a small percentage of the people that were actually killed and tortured here. There's so many that they don't know about.
We're leaving Han Seng prison. You can see all the barbed wire. But like I keep reiterating, you've just got to grin and bear it and go through it. And we cannot let the memory of this just fucking medieval barbarity, we just can't let the memory of it die. We have to fight through our own personal discomfort and just make sure that we spread the word. And our way of doing that is just come and visit it if you're ever in Phnom Penh.
We just saw the women sitting here late at night, working, having their big machetes, chopping up some sort of, I don't even know what it is. Big, yeah, I couldn't even guess. Yeah, but it's like 8 o'clock at night, still working hard. We are on our way to a night market. We just found these nice little street lights here on the streets of Phnom Penh. Okay, we think we have found the night market. Traffic is still pretty crazy, but we're gonna go venture in and see if we can find a little way in, or if it's only gonna be along the road like this. Okay, we found an entrance finally, and we're walking in the more of a clothing area right now. Lots of different clothes and purses and bags and underwear. It is a little bit of a labyrinth when you come to these ones, but
I've got its way.
yeah, but they're usually always divided by section. It will have one part that is food, one part that is clothes, another part that is something else. So yeah, you just have to meander through all the little aisles until you kind of get to where you want to be. We're not really gonna buy anything. Yeah. Okay. Actually, some live music here. Right, we've come to the more of a food court area, or food area. People are just sitting on little rugs everywhere. Yeah, so they have all the little food stalls here along the sides, and then they just put out massive rugs. Yeah, so we're strolling back to our hostel here in the night along the Mekong River, and it's all lit up and nice here, huh? They have some party boats going out here, it looks like, for tourists. Yeah, they're off. Maybe actually coming back from the sunset, I don't know. The big Carlsberg sign there on the... Yeah. That big fancy hotel on the other side. Yeah, and some of the high rises here in the background. Put up little night lights here around the palm trees all along the little boardwalk here. Yeah, you have the cherry blossom trees and all the lights from the bars, and it's looking pretty, looking really pretty.
So we're going back to our hotel after what has been quite an overwhelming day, and I know that it was hard for you guys watching at home, but I just really wanted to show this out of respect for the Cambodian people. You can't come to Phnom Penh without showing the killing fields, like you can't go to Krakow without showing Auschwitz. It's just one of them things that are synonymous with it, and the Cambodian people are so lovely. When you know what they've been through recently, it makes you love them even more and have even more respect for them. So tomorrow morning we head for Vietnam, and that's where our next video will be coming from, so we'll see you in Vietnam.